Hi everyone, you're back with The Lone Wolf once again. Not long ago I watched the 2012 film Mud starring Matthew McConaughey, Tye Sheridan, Reese Witherspoon and Sam Shepard, and I have to say it's a truly underappreciated gem. I've been having a bit of a binge on McConaughey's films lately, and I think he's one of the best actors of our generation. Still, I didn't expect this picture to be so chock full of crimson pills and dating messages for men, young and old. In fact, I'm surprised it even got made, to be honest. I urge you all to stream it if you can, or buy a physical copy, get it watched, and then return to the video, as there will be major spoilers. So with that out of the way, let's begin. In the first instance, I see this movie as presenting two thematic strands. A men going their own way / lone wolf strand, and a coming of age theme for adolescents. Set in the DeWitt, Arkansas area, the film begins with two 14-year-old boys, Ellis and Neckbone, finding a dilapidated and deserted boat stuck high up in a tree on a tiley island on the Mississippi River. Keen to stake a claim to the boat, they soon meet its occupier, the eponymous character Mud. Mud professes to have grown up in the local area and asks the boys to find food for him, promising to give them the boat if they help him while he is on the island. When they return with food, Mud reveals why he is hiding out on the island. It turns out he's waiting for his old girlfriend, Juniper, who he describes as beautiful with nightingale tattoos on both hands. The boys later spot her in town while grocery shopping, and around the same time, Ellis falls for an older girl at school called May Pearl. Ellis learns from his father, Senior, that his parents are going to get divorced, a fact that threatens their houseboat. If it is no longer used as a residence, the river authority will have it removed. It transpires that Mud is actually wanted by the police. He killed a man who got Juniper pregnant and then pushed her down the stairs, causing her to lose the child. The boys then agree to help Mud further in exchange for Mud's pistol. Mud sends Ellis to Tom Blankenship, a father figure from Mud's childhood, who lives across the river from Ellis and his family. He initially agrees to come and talk to Mud, but is distressed to hear that he is in trouble over Juniper again, and refuses to help. Mud gives the boys a note to give to Juniper, and they deliver it to her at a motel room, and there they find Juniper being beaten and abused by a man, the brother of the guy Mud killed. Ellis tries to help, but is quickly subdued. When Mud is informed, he realizes that the family of the man he killed have come to get revenge. They and a bunch of bounty hunters have staked out Juniper's motel, and have bribed local and state police to get the job done. The boys help Mud repair the boat, stealing machine parts and an outboard motor from junkyards, and they hatch a plan to reunite Mud with Juniper, but after agreeing to meet them so they can take her to Mud, Juniper doesn't show up and is instead gone to a bar to flirt with other strange men. Ellis and Neckbone tell Mud and let him know that Juniper didn't want to come. Ellis takes a note from Mud to Juniper, telling her that it's over, and she responds by calling Mud a born liar, and that she's sick of running away with him. Ellis is sullen and dejected, partly because he thought he was helping a couple in love, but also by his public humiliation and rejection in front of her friends, and her not returning Ellis's phone calls. Ellis confronts Mud on the island, calling him a liar and a coward, getting the boys to do what he was afraid to do, his dirty work, and turning them into thieves. Running away, Ellis falls into a pit containing venomous cottonmouth snakes and is bitten. Mud rescues the unconscious Ellis, taking him to a hospital on the mainland, where he is identified as the wanted man by one of the staff. They call the police, who then tip off the gang. Back on the island, Mud and Neckbone manage to push the now repaired boat into the water, and as promised, Mud gives Neckbone his Colt 45 pistol, but without ammunition. Wanting to say goodbye to Ellis, Mud goes to see him at the houseboat, where he is recovering from the snake bite. The gang arrive and start shooting. Mud manages to save Ellis, while Tom provides support from across the river with his sniper rifle. Mud is shot while diving into the river and doesn't return to the surface. And when the police arrive, they find the entire crew dead. The next morning, Tom has disappeared. Ellis's parents separate and their houseboat is eventually demolished. He and his mother move to a new apartment and his dad gets a new job far away. Nevertheless, Senior shows a new, more mature attitude to his situation, telling Ellis to look after his mother. Still uncertain of Mud's fate, Ellis notices some older teenage girls across the street, one of whom waves at him, and he smiles back. Mud is revealed to be alive and recuperating on the repaired houseboat with Tom at the helm. Tom wakes Mud, telling him there's something he has to see. Both men look ahead at the mouth of the Mississippi River, and beyond that the vast Gulf of Mexico. One of the first things I noticed about this film is that it has a Stand By Me, Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer type quality about it that can't be ignored. It most certainly is a Southern film in that respect. The scene where Tom warns Ellis about Mud and the cycle of destruction that Juniper has him in is perhaps one of the best in the film, and I've included a link to it below. It contains such a wide range of subtle yet important messages for men. Avoid flaky, narcissistic and emotionally manipulative women, as they can and will destroy your life. Mud suffers from one-itis for a good portion of the film. He's willing to jeopardize his own life and freedom to protect her from her persistently bad choices, yet she has no redeeming internal or external qualities to speak of. This is illustrated when she lets Ellis down and goes to some random bar to seduce complete strangers. Meanwhile, Mud asks the boys to commit thievery on the basis of this Walt Disney one-itis-fueled fantasy that just doesn't happen in the real world, and Ellis gets in trouble with his father because of it. Also important in this scene is that Tom reinforces the indispensable role of a positive male role model in a boy's life. It's clear that Tom cares for Mud's welfare, even if by the time we first meet him, he has largely given up trying to save Mud from himself, and is now trying to protect the young Ellis from getting mixed up in the whole situation. The early interactions between Ellis and the older high school girl can be easily forgiven, but he soon gets a dose of RP rage when he is humiliated in front of Maypill's friends. His juvenile and immature ideations about his relationship with an older girl in tatters, his bitterness and disappointment are released in an angry tirade at Mud, and when he flees he is injured and bitten by a snake that could have killed him. Mud pulls through though, risking getting caught by the law or by gangsters, and saves Ellis's life by getting him to hospital. The ending scene was as positive and powerful as you can get under the circumstances, and it truly resonated with me, and I'm sure it will with many of you guys out there. Mud, despite being wounded protecting the boys that he befriended, is now free from the shackles of his obsession and the gang threatening his life. He climbs onto the deck of the boat to gaze out at the Gulf of Mexico, basking in the possibilities now available to him, the oneness with nature, and the great expanse ahead. Optimism, simplicity, freedom, and a world that can be readily understood. Getting involved with the wrong woman, i.e. one that thrives on drama and narcissism, can complicate at best and at worst completely destroy your life. I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed the film. Indeed, even Matthew McConaughey has remarked that if he could show one of his films to his deceased father, it would be this one. And he himself has mentioned the significance of the Sam Shepard scene on the boat. That's high praise given his other achievements, if you include Dallas Buyers Club, Interstellar, and the amazing first season of True Detective as well. Who can forget that? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Movie Night Life Lessons. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you in the next video.